I could be doing this in my basement, but right now I can see two of my goats and both of the horses. I just like being outside. Here's my thought process. I want 16 inches to hang out from that 4x4. So I drew a line here. The 4x4 is actually 3.5 inches. I'm going to put a couple inches on the back side of that, and then that's going to get a fancy little thing here. I showed Karen all of the possibilities of how to cut the ends of this. She liked a simple one. To make this curve here, I took a gallon paint can, which looked like the right curve, and traced it. Did the same thing on this end. So now this is my pattern. I know I need to have about 25 inches. 25 inches on each piece will be nice. Which is okay, but this lumber comes in 2-foot sections, and so I'm going to have a little bit of waste. Hate that. But when you don't work from a plan, that happens. So the next thing I need are 8 25-inch pieces of treated 2x6. Cut the length, and then I'll cut the corners off. Sounds simple enough. So after some further thought, just not that rich to throw away wood. So I've made these 24 inches, cut on the line, set up a stop block so they're all consistent. This is my pattern, and I'm ready to cut this pattern out. So now that all those are cut out, I'll just go ahead and mark everything. These are the 2x4s I ripped in half yesterday. I thought about making them square, but that dust control in the basement is critical, and it would make twice as many cuts if I made them square, so they're ripped in half. They're standing up long ways right now. When I picked these out, I did not pick these out from the big box stores. We have an Ace Hardware here that carries lumber, and I was very careful to pick through them and try to orientate the grain so that it was going to be almost quarter cut lumber here. I didn't pick any center cuts, and very few of these have knots in them. I'm really pleased this morning, after stickering them last night, that not many of them have bent. Usually when you cut a 2x4 in half, it bends every way in every direction, or get some really bad twist in it. I've only got a couple of those. In fact, it looks like it's off of the same board here. They're just separated a little bit. But I've got some really straight ones too. And these 10-footers here are perfectly straight, and that's exactly what I'm going to need for the long stretch here. Yesterday when I cut these, I had the box fan going, which you might be able to see picked up a lot of dust. I had my big dust collection system hooked up to the table saw, and I had my overhead air filter going at the same time. There was very little dust in the basement when I left. And of course, I remembered to put on my hearing protection and my respirator, and of course my eye protection. So I'm gonna get some stain on these, and they'll be ready to put up in the morning. I guess this would be a good time to ramble, but I'm going to restrain myself. When I left these 4x4s, they were only secured with some 3-inch deck screws on the back side here. I don't trust that at all. I'm going to put some carriage bolts in and let that carry the load here. There's not going to be a lot of load, but I don't want to trust deck screws to hold this in. I have this long drill bit. I'm sure I picked it up at a flea market. You can get them at the big box stores. Downside is it only has threads on a few inches of it, so you have to keep pulling it out. I would have much rather centered this because of my my visual likes, but to center that would have put it on that picket back there, and I don't like that to work around that either. I think these are 5/16 inch carriage bolts, and I actually bought them because that was the size drill bit I had. If I had a different size drill bit, maybe a larger one, I would have used a little larger one. But again, these aren't going to carry a lot of weight. So it's just a matter of going around and doing that on each coat. Here, this morning off camera, I set these cross members up here. There's nothing holding them on there except gravity. I want to have approval by the boss, as Captain Eddie would say, the management. And she said to go forward. So I'm going to take these down and put them back up. There is enough play in these to level them. I'm going to be putting this screw in the back side corner here. All the pressure is going to be on the front here, and that dado is really going to take the load. So one of these, because they're so expensive, I'm just going to use one. If I see that it's saggy in the future, I'll jack it up and put another one in. After pre-drilling with the number 9 screw, this one should go on a lot easier. That's going to take a lot of weight. After consulting with management and mocking this up a little bit more, I had thought it needed to come all the way out to here and then over to there. But she feels like that's going to be too enclosing. She wants it open, and she wants to go more back to the original picture we saw. So I think that's going to be about the edge of the long ones, and then the short ones will come out here. I still need to cut this off and cut this other side off, but the mock-up really helps visual learners. So a little adjusting here and there, and I'm ready to cut these boards to length. It's been a very productive morning. I'm happy with the mock-up. This board is cut to length. I'm ready to secure it. I'm going to secure that to the 4x4 with 3-inch Tex screws. It's morning 3 of this build, and although I didn't get a lot done physically yesterday, the mock-up really helped with the design. It gave me a great chance to collaborate with my wife. She's half of this household, so we need to make sure that she's happy. And I really am going to be able to move forward with this today with a lot of speed. All the pieces are cut to dimensions, they're not cut to length. So that'll be one of the things I'll need to do today, and then to secure them all. I need to secure this cross piece, and to do that, I'm going to be using these 8-inch lag screws. Now, to drill through this 2x6, I want to pre-drill it because these lag screws can drift from side to side. Be drilling it with another one of my flea market finds. This one has very few threads, but it's nice and thin, same size as this long lag bolt, 8-inch lag bolt. So to make sure it doesn't drift, I'm going to be using a shorter drill, and I'm going to drill these up through the bottom and then finish the hole with my longer drill bit, and then I'll be able to secure it. So I've got it marked off here where I need to drill, and the next step is to take it down and drill it. So I've got the cross members up here. This first one right up here is not secured, it's not cut to length yet. It really serves no purpose other than decoration and to hold down those 2x a little bit. But I'm going to move it out of the way and put my 2x up. I've got to make sure all of those are cut to length correctly, and I've got a system that I worked out yesterday afternoon to do that with. I purchased these shelf brackets last week for a project in the barn, haven't gotten to it yet. But it dawned on me yesterday afternoon that I can use these as a consistent spacer to make sure that I get the exact amount of overhang on each one of the 2x2s. So that's what I'm going to do next. I've got this rested up here on my clamps because this next step is not so easy. But once I get it, it's going to make life a lot easier for me. So I'm going to temporarily clamp this right here. I like that. Because I'm right-handed, so I'm going to cut the angles on here. I'll be able to butt this right up to against this ledger board and mark the other side. And since I'm right-handed, it'll be a lot easier for me to mark the other side over there than this side. But this is going to give me an exact overhang on every one of these boards, and I'll be able to just move right down and get them all done. I've got to move the ladder, get that other one set, but this doesn't have to be perfectly level or anything. All I need to do is have this end, this side here, a little bit higher than the beam. It's really coming together. I was able to use the crookedest 2x2 I had on those short pieces now. I can start using the other ones. I learned from my mock-up yesterday that my 10-footers were not going to be long enough. So I actually had an extra 2x6 that I had already stained. I was able to get 3 really nice straight 2x2s out of it. So I can use that here at the end. But I like the way it's going. I know what you're thinking at this point. Man, that's a lot of up and down. But I tell you what, I don't mind it. I like to be active. I'm a former physical education teacher. Been an athlete almost all my life. Through in the Highland Games for 30 years. Through in college before that. So this is a great workout for me. I won't have to work on the bike tonight. I should get in plenty of steps, and I really don't mind it. Besides, it's a beautiful day. Here's just a quick tip. It's hard for me because I haven't moved my ladder to see how far over I should drill or screw this board into. Well, I have this scrap up here, so I lined it up with the rest of the screws, and now I know exactly where to drive that screw. Well, it's just a little after 12. I just put up my last 10-footer. So I need to consult with management now to see if she wants to come out any further than that. I'm thinking maybe a foot or so. I had some lunch. I put on a dry t-shirt, although it's getting hot out here. I'm going to finish this. I've reversed my ledger boards over there. Now, instead of going on top of them, they're going to go under. I've moved my other board out over here, so I've got plenty. And I'm ready to finish. I think we're going to put up 3 more long ones. I was really close to finishing when the iPad died. So I waited. It's a couple hours later. The sun was getting directly overhead. Charged up the battery a little bit, and all I have left to do is to drill and secure these. Same procedure and the same 8-inch legs that I used on the other cross member on this one, and I'm going to secure that and then finish screwing those in. I was able to adjust it and get it set just right here. Again, working from no plans, you've got to kind of go with the flow. Not thrilled with where it came out, but I think it'll be adequate. No need to mention that to my wife. We'll let her think it was planned that way. See if she approves. Now the drill's dead. You know, I talked earlier about getting some steps in. All of this up and down movement doesn't count very much. And the deck is so small, I've only recorded less than 6,000 steps today. And that's not normal for me. Normally at this time of the day, I'm well over 10,000. What are you going to do? You might be able to see that I'm probably 3 short. I've used up all the long pieces. What I thought was going to be an adequate overhang yesterday was not an adequate overhang this morning for Karen. So the pieces I had already cut and planned to use on the ends here are about 6 inches too short. Now I know if she knew that, she would say, well, just make them like that. But she's not going to know until it's done. I do have a couple of more 2x4s dried out just for this purpose. I'm going to rip those this evening, stain them, and they'll be ready to go in the morning. That's the way it goes when you work without a plan. It's been several days since I last videotaped. I was able to finish the pergola the next day, and then we had Hurricane Nate. And Nate gave us 3 days of steady rain. And I wanted to get another coat of stain on everything before I finished the video, and I was able to accomplish that yesterday afternoon. But in the meantime, I've had some great moments and spent some hours with my 3 youngest grandchildren, and you know, life couldn't be better. This is a great place to sit in the morning, sip on some tea. The traffic is something you get used to. Looking back on this video, I realized I was in the shade a lot. I just need to do a better job of lighting. I'm all new to this, and I'll get it together sooner or later. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's not a hard build. All total, it probably took me about 2 days. I think I could have finished it a lot sooner had I had some plans. If you're fortunate enough to live in an area or you can afford cedar lumber or redwood, then you wouldn't have to worry about the treated pine drying out. Unfortunately, I just can't afford that kind of lumber. So the treated pine's working well. That's not to say in 6 months it won't all be curled and twisted up there. And if it is, I'll be honest with you, I'll put another video up. But with quarter sawn lumber, it's as stable as it can be. It was dried out for 3.5 months. It's got a good coat of stain on it now, so hopefully it'll last. Until next time, thanks for watching.